Nicki Minaj was the apparent target of a swatting call last night at around 7 p.m. The LA County Sheriff's Department received a call claiming an assault with a deadly weapon had occurred at the Grammy winner's Hidden Hills residence. The caller claimed somebody had a black female a black female adult, and two suspects wearing all black were still on the property. But when deputies arrived at Minaj's residence, there was no evidence of any crime.
Put a finger up if you think that situation at Rihanna's house wasn't random at all. It felt planned out, right? A lot of people are still side-eyeing the story because how does a random person know she'd be home at that exact moment? She pulled up to the exact address in a Tesla, parked up across the street, and started firing off rounds. 10 shots in total. That's not something people just guess their way into, and it's got folks talking heavy. Now, some are saying this doesn't look like coincidence. It looks intentional. She moved like someone who already knew the setup, like every step was mapped out ahead of time. And then you've got Nicki Minaj speaking out, calling out people, aka Jay-Z and Roc Nation, and saying there were moves being made against her, especially after those swatting incidents she dealt with. The timing of all this? Way too close for comfort. Here's where things get even messier. People online are connecting dots saying, allegedly, Rihanna could be a key witness tied to some bigger situation involving a transporting scheme. There are claims that Mr. Carter is allegedly involved through Roc Nation, and that Nicki Minaj supposedly tried to warn Rihanna before anything went down. Word is, she had already been digging into info on Jay-Z, but Rihanna didn't take it seriously and brushed it off. And now everyone's looking back at that like, was that a huge mistake? Now, let's slow this down for a second. These are just things people are saying online. There's no solid proof behind any of it. But still, let's lay everything out and you can decide for yourself what sounds real and what doesn't. So first, look at what Nicki Minaj was dealing with before she started speaking out about having a target on her back from Jay-Z and Roc Nation. Back in June 2023, police showed up at her house after getting a false report claiming her son was in danger. Imagine that kind of chaos at your doorstep for no reason. Then, just 1 month later, it happened again. Another fake call, this time saying someone had fired shots at her home. Officers pulled up ready for anything, only to find out nothing even happened. Eventually, police tracked down the person behind it, Stephanie Bell, and charged her with 2 counts of reporting a false emergency. Nicki even spoke on it herself, saying, "Stephanie Bell, a warrant is in the system. Great detective work. So grateful the DA filed 1 count for the swatting call and 1 for the false report to DCFS. To God be the glory, child." She made it clear she wasn't taking this lightly at all. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, it did. This wasn't the end of it, because there was yet another incident involving the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, making it the 3rd time things like this happened around her, and that's when people really started paying attention. So here's what went down in that 3rd incident. A call came in claiming that someone had fired at a black adult woman around 7:05 p.m., saying there were 2 suspects dressed all in black at the scene. Police didn't waste any time. They rushed over, surrounded the property, ready for anything. But once again, nothing. No suspects, no evidence, nothing to back up the story at all. And it gets even stranger. The house was completely empty when officers got there. Now things start shifting from just prank calls to something people are taking way more seriously. Nicki Minaj has been saying this isn't just swatting anymore. She believes her life is actually in danger. She's been speaking out, claiming she's exposing Jay-Z and Roc Nation and accusing them of serious wrongdoing, saying anyone who could connect the dots might be at risk. That's what's been raising eyebrows all over the internet. And then Rihanna enters the picture. Now, yes, she's dealt with swatting before too, but this situation hit completely different. This time, the threat showed up right at her front door. A 35-year-old woman, Ivana Ortiz, described as a licensed speech pathologist from Orlando, Florida, allegedly pulled up to Rihanna's home while she was inside with her family. Which should have been a normal, peaceful day, suddenly turned into chaos when shots were fired. And that's the moment everything took a much darker turn. Luckily, nobody was physically hurt, but that doesn't mean it wasn't terrifying. That whole situation shook Rihanna, her family, and even the neighbors nearby. Imagine that kind of chaos hitting your home out of nowhere. Ivana was arrested fast, within 30 minutes, and hit with serious charges. At first, her bail was set at a shocking $10 million because of how many people were put at risk. But later, it got reduced to about $1.8 million. But what really had people disturbed was what showed up on her social media. There were multiple videos where she directly targeted Rihanna, repeatedly calling her a witch and making some wild accusations. She even claimed that Rihanna wanted to harm her and went as far as comparing Rihanna's face to something evil. The posts didn't stop there, it just kept getting more intense. Ivana allegedly went on to say that Rihanna was stealing her thoughts, staying jealous of her life, and somehow interfering with every move she made. She claimed Rihanna was invading her dreams at night and blocking her from the life she believes she's meant to have. And it didn't end there. She even said Rihanna's spirit had no purpose, and that once Rihanna was out of the way, God would finally give her the destiny she's been waiting for. Now look, it's very possible this whole thing was just the actions of one unstable person acting alone. But after everything that's been said and all of the conversations online, some people aren't buying that simple explanation. They're starting to believe there could be something bigger behind it, like powerful figures wanting Rihanna silenced. And yeah, the main name being brought up in these claims is Jay-Z. Why are people even going there? Well, allegedly, Rihanna is being described as a key witness tied to some kind of transporting scheme. And according to these same rumors, Mr. Carter is supposedly connected through Rock Nation, which is exactly what Nicki Minaj has been hinting at for months now. That overlap has people raising eyebrows and asking questions. But here's where it gets even intense. It's not just Nicki making noise. It's just not Nicki making noise. Rihanna's former publicist, Jonathan Hay, has publicly claimed that he was questioned by federal authorities about Rihanna allegedly being transported across international borders by Jay-Z. That statement alone has added a whole new layer to the conversation. And then there's more. Not too long ago, a documentary titled The Disturbing Death of Jay-Z's Mistress was uploaded to YouTube by Trap Lore Ross, and it started gaining attention fast. The video focused on a woman connected to Jay-Z, and ever since it dropped, people have been digging deeper and connecting even more dots. There's also that story about the mysterious death of Kathy Corey White back in 2011, reportedly from a brain aneurysm. Now, rumors have been floating around for years, with people claiming she was connected to Jay-Z while pregnant, but that's a whole separate conversation. What really has people locked in right now is how that documentary brought up some surprising details involving Rihanna. So, here's where it gets interesting. The documentary mentioned Jonathan Hay, Rihanna's former publicist, who was working closely with her during the early days of her career, especially around Under Replay. That was the same time when rumors were swirling about a possible connection between Rihanna and Jay-Z, and people have been revisiting that timeline heavy. Once the documentary started blowing up online, Jonathan Hay said his phone would not stop ringing. He even posted about it, saying, "I was mentioned in this explosive and viral documentary by Trap Lore Ross that was featured on Academics that's made my phone blow up for the past week." That alone shows how fast this story started spreading again. He didn't stop there either. He continued. Recently, Jaguar Wright has talked about this controversial situation as well. "I was the publicist for Pon de Replay, the debut single by Rihanna." And then he made it clear he's ready to speak out fully, saying he wants to set the record straight once and for all. Because in his words, the situation is shocking, messy, and just completely wild. He even added that what he and William Mosley have experienced over the years tied to this whole situation needs to finally come out. According to him, the truth is overdue. People are going to be stunned, and once everything is revealed, it's going to shake a lot of people up in a major way. So get this, Jonathan didn't just talk online and disappear. He actually sat down for a follow-up interview with All Hip Hop, and just like he said he would, he started revealing everything. He really came forward with his side, and people were locked in listening to every word. According to Jonathan, he claimed that federal agents had been watching Jay-Z closely for a while, especially after an incident involving Lance Rivera, and also because of alleged connections tied to R. Kelly during their tour together. That alone had people raising eyebrows and asking serious questions. Then he described a moment that sounded straight out of a movie. He said unmarked cars pulled up on him, and these officials stepped out, identifying themselves as part of a federal task force. They asked him to come talk, and he agreed, but he said his nerves were through the roof the entire time. Jonathan explained that they took him to what he described as a quiet, makeshift interrogation space, and as they started questioning him, it hit him just how serious everything was. He said the tone, the setting, everything about it made the situation feel heavy and intense. Now, here's where the claims get even more serious. Jonathan alleged that the agents told him they were looking into accusations involving Jay-Z and possible misconduct, along with claims about transporting individuals across international borders. He also said they suggested the situation might involve more than just one person, which made everything sound even bigger. And that's why people online started connecting this to other high-profile federal investigations involving figures in the industry. Some are even pointing out similarities and wondering if these situations overlap in any way. But right now, these are still claims and conversations, not confirmed facts. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but is any of this actually real or is it just talk? Fair question. So let's bring in another voice that's been making noise. Jaguar Wright. After one of her interviews started circulating, things got real tense real fast. Jay-Z and Beyoncé's lawyer, Alex Spiro, stepped in and responded directly. He said there's a difference between rumors and outright nonsense. And according to him, what Jag said crossed the line into a serious accusation. They didn't just brush it off either. They reportedly issued a legal warning, pushing for the interview to be taken down because they said the claims were completely false. And here's what really got people talking. Jay-Z and Beyoncé usually stay quiet no matter what's being said about them. There have been countless rumors over the years, and they rarely respond. So the fact that this situation got an immediate legal reaction raised a lot of eyebrows. Now people are sitting back like, wait a minute, why this one? Why respond now when so many other claims were ignored? And with multiple voices out here making similar accusations, it's got folks questioning if it's all just coincidence or if something more is going on behind the scenes. And now people are stepping back and looking at the bigger picture, because it's not just one situation anymore, it's multiple stories, multiple names, all popping up around the same time. That's what's got the internet in a frenzy right now. You've got the incident at Rihanna's home, Nicki Minaj speaking out about feeling targeted, Jonathan Hay claiming he was questioned, and Jaguar Wright doubling down on her statements. All of these moments, when put side by side, have people connecting dots and asking, are these just random events or is there something deeper going on? At the same time, there are still plenty of people saying this is exactly how rumors spiral out of control. They argue that social media can take separate situations and mash them together until it looks like one big conspiracy, even when there's no real proof tying it all together. So now it really comes down to what you think. Are these just coincidences being blown up online, or are these patterns that deserve a closer look? Either way, one thing is clear. This whole situation has people watching very closely, and everybody is waiting to see what comes next. And here's where things stand right now. No official confirmations, no solid evidence tying all these claims together, just a whole lot of noise that keeps getting louder. Still, that hasn't stopped people from digging, questioning, and putting pressure on the situation. Some are saying if there really is something going on, it's only a matter of time before more information comes out. Others believe this will fade out just like many viral stories before it. Big headlines one week, silence the next. But with names this big involved, people aren't letting it go that easily. Meanwhile, fans are split right down the middle. Some are standing firm, defending their favorites, and calling all of this baseless talk, while others are demanding answers and accountability, saying too many similar claims have surfaced to ignore. One thing is certain, though, this story isn't slowing down anytime soon. As more clips, interviews, and old statements keep resurfacing, the conversation keeps growing, and all eyes are locked in, waiting to see what really unfolds next. So now, people are asking, why does his name keep coming up in all these situations? That's the question that keeps getting louder the more this story spreads. And here's another detail that added even more fuel to the conversation. When people looked into Ivana's social media, they noticed she was actually a fan of Beyoncé and Jay-Z. Now, some are saying that might just be random, but others aren't so sure, and they're questioning if that detail really means something more. Then there's Rihanna's move that really got people talking. Reports say she packed up her family and left Los Angeles. And for a lot of folks, that didn't feel like something you do unless you believe the situation is still serious. Some are saying if this was just one isolated incident, would she really go that far? At the same time, there are claims floating around that Nicki may have tried to warn Rihanna beforehand. But again, nothing has been officially confirmed. So now it's all in your hands. What do you actually believe is going on here? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to see it, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates because this story is still unfolding.